Hello and welcome to episode 23 of Think Big with Michael Zellner. All positive, no politics. Today, my guest is Casey Johns. Casey is an American country singer, songwriter, and she's also a model. She has released 5 studio albums in her career, with her latest album, Thunder, just released this past April 22nd, and that was on Southern Sky Records. Welcome to the show, Casey.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
It's my pleasure. So tell us something interesting about yourself that most people don't know.
Ooh, something interesting that some people don't know. Well, I used to be a barrel racer, and that doesn't really get put out into the world very often. Of course, my family, my close family and friends, they all know that I used to ride horses and stuff. My mom was a horse trainer, great barrel racer. So I kind of followed in her footsteps. And then around 18 is when I stopped riding horses and started pursuing music.
That's exactly, I was going to talk about that. I think you were born in Memphis and you grew up in Hernando area. You grew up on a lot of land. And so your mom, being a barrel racer and around horses and everything, it obviously just fell into something that you did too. And you not only did that, you were into jazz, you were into tap, you were into ballet, you did all those fun things. So you sounds like you had a pretty exciting childhood.
Yeah, that's funny that you brought that up. That's something that a lot of people don't know either. Like, yeah, I did 12 years of jazz, tap, and ballet, and was pretty good at point. And yeah, I used to love to dance, and then kind of got out of it whenever the music bug hit me. So
Your mom took you to the Grand Ole Opry when you were 8, and you said that it was then that you knew that you were intended to share your talent and singing and songwriting. You began playing the guitar and writing songs when you were about 15 years old. But the truth
absolutely.
isn't the truth of the matter, though, that your singing career actually started way before that in your life. When you were just 3 years old, you would climb up on your mother's coffee table and you would sing Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart to your family. Now, is there a funny recording of that out there anywhere? And how did that happen at 3 years old?
Oh, I'm sure there's a recording out there. I think my mom actually sent the recording into America's Funniest Home Videos. Don't know if they ever played it, but yeah, that was definitely a thing. But yeah, I don't even know if my mom has that coffee table anymore. I'm sure I ruined it with my stage.
What made that song at 3 years old a song that you just started? Did you just hear a lot on the radio or what happened?
Yes, I just loved 90s country music growing up. I mean, my mom was always had Clinton Black on the record, on the vinyl player. And she always had, Shania Twain. I mean, just all of these artists. And then one of them was Billy Ray Cyrus, Achy Breaky Heart. And I don't know if it was just such a hooky song that I just fell in love with it, that I just always sang it. But yeah, that was my favorite one.
And that song made him a fortune.
It did.
A lot of money. By the time you were 17, you were performing at festivals, fairs, local competitions. And when you were 19, you wrote, quote, I'm 19 years old and an aspiring songwriter and have written over 20 songs. I have played a lot of festivals and I love it. I don't have a band, just me and my guitar. Now, what was it like at that time when it was just you and your guitar?
Yes. The podcast cut out just a little bit, but I don't. What was the question?
What was it like for you at that time, just with you and your guitar?
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah. So my granddaddy and my mom bought me a guitar. Sorry, a car. Brought me a guitar when I was 15, and just fell in love with music. I wrote a song right when I started, learn 3 chords, and just fell in love with, writing songs. And I mean, they probably weren't great, but I was just writing, doodling down stuff that I was going through in, school, and going, just things that any normal teenager goes through.
How was it? I mean, at that such a young age to start learning how to write music and play the guitar, was that, I mean, that had to be difficult.
Yeah, definitely. My mom put me in lessons, and I took guitar lessons from Andy McCullough, who was in Senatobia, Mississippi at the time. And he just became my favorite guitar teacher. He was just like this rock and roll dude that had long hair and tattoos. And I was like, man, I want to be that guy one day. And he really took me in and took me under his wing and just taught me everything I know. And but yeah, it was hard. Playing guitar is really hard. I mean, but once you get the hang of it, it's like learning anything, riding a bike. Once you get that, it clicks eventually.
In 2009, you won first place at a hometown local singing competition, which led you to get the opportunity to open up for Luke Bryan, who is now, one of the best-selling music artists. He has over 75 million albums sold. You must have been really stoked and just 19, 20 years old to have that opportunity.
That was a really amazing opportunity. Just to be a part of the hometown competition was just awesome in general. And then what that led to was just amazing opportunities. And yeah, I mean, back in 2009, Luke Bryan was, I mean, I don't want to say getting his start, but it was before he was very well known. And
Right.
it was just, yeah, that was an amazing experience. And to do it in my hometown was even better.
Did you have an opportunity to like talk to him and everything?
Oh, totally.
What was he
Yeah, he was
like?
super nice.
Oh, that's good. It's always good to hear things like that because we obviously sometimes hear the horror stories of people that are off camera or all like that. So it's always good to hear stories of people that are really nice and, and exactly who they appear to be on stage. You know,
Absolutely.
you once said, quote, life is the song, love is the music. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think that really, like, when you say life is a song, I think that everything that I was going through at that time, just or just anything that we go through when growing up and, in relationships, out of relationships, family, friends, just anything you go through. I think that if you put your life into music and you're honest and you're vulnerable, I mean, people are going to notice that and people are going to respect that. And I think that it's just important just to be honest with yourself and who you are and what you write down on paper. So I think that's kind of where I was going with that is, just putting your life into a song and, the love will come out of that.
You know, you sang at every port in the Atlantic Ocean while working with Carnival Cruises, and several of those years later, you performed at Dollywood, and you got to actually be featured in Dolly Parton's Christmas Coat of Many Colors. All that had to be pretty exciting for you at the time, but with that fire you obviously have in your belly, you knew you were destined for much more than that, didn't you?
I mean, I hope so. I knew that I loved music and I just loved every part of it. I knew music just ran through my veins. And so whether I was doing musical theater, whether I was dancing, whether I was singing country music, rock and roll, whatever, I just wanted to do it. So I just wanted to be in the middle of it all.
What was it like to sing on a cruise ship? I mean, to go around. Were you there pretty much all the time?
Oh my gosh, it was an amazing job. I got the job when I guess I was around 21, 22 at the time when I got the job, and I stayed with them for 6 to 7 years, and, I only planned to do 1 contract, 1 six-month contract, and that was gonna be done, and I fell in love with just the job, the community, and, everything else that goes along with it, the music, we got to we worked 4 hours a day. It was the best job ever, you
Oh,
know?
wow.
Yeah, so it was great. I loved being on cruise ships. You just become such a huge family when when you're with that kind of band for 6 to 9 months. And yeah, I just loved the job. It was great.
So you got to travel pretty much, all over the place and got to see so many different things.
Yeah, we got to travel just pretty much all over the Caribbean. I've probably been to every Caribbean island you can think of.
That had to be a lot of fun, especially at that age. That had to be
Yeah,
just a ton of fun to be able to do
definitely.
that.
It was great too at that age. You don't have to pay for rent. You don't have to pay for, food or board. You don't have to pay for anything. They basically take care of you and they take you in, and it's a great way to save money, especially right out of college. And yeah, it was a great job.
Um, Elvis wasn't a writer at all, and he just wrote just a few songs in his career, and a lot of people don't know that. I mean, he just wasn't a writer. Most of the songs were written for him, and you do both singing and songwriting. Your favorite subject growing up was writing. You said you write things down in your notes in your phone when it comes to you, and then you grab a guitar and see what comes out. Thank goodness for smartphones today with their notes section that we're able to do that. Is picking up the guitar and putting those words into music a lot of fun for you?
So much fun. Yeah, I mean, even when we're on the road, I mean, especially this past year, I've been on the road so much that I don't even, my guitar's in the back of the car. So it's like, well, if I'm going to write something, glad I have my phone here. So I'll just pull over and write down any kind of melody or put on my voice recorder and sing like a melody that's came to my head or anything. And then I'll send it over to my producer and say, hey, what do you think about this? And then we'll write it when we're back in the studio.
How do the ideas like that just come to people? I mean, I know that you're used to doing that, but for someone who is not a singer and a songwriter, to me, that's just like How do all these ideas just come in your head and where you just like, man, that would be a good song?
I don't know actually. I think when I'm especially when I'm driving, and I'm sure you can relate to this, but when you're driving, you're thinking a lot.
Right.
And I think that I don't want to say I try to stay with the trends, but I try to just think about just music that I love, country, rock and roll. I don't know. It could be a sign that I saw on the road that had like a really cool name to it. And I'm like, ooh, that would be like a really cool like idea. Maybe we could bounce off of that. Or just like a story someone has told me. Like if I, call someone and they tell me a relationship story, you can just kind of vibe off of what they're saying. And I'm like, ooh, you said something really cool. I think I'm gonna write about that. So it just kind of comes from all over.
Your music inspirations are from many people in so many different styles. They include, the blues of Otis Redding, Chris Stapleton, George Strait, Bruce Springsteen, Loretta Lynn, Patsy Cline, Sheryl Crow, Brandy Carlisle, and Miranda Lambert. I mean, you have also like the aura of Led Zeppelin, so much so that you covered Led Zeppelin song Black Dog, and it went viral on TikTok, and you had over 100,000 views overnight. That's freaking awesome. How did that happen?
I honestly don't know. When we recorded that song, this was a song. Black Dog was a song that I sang on cruise ships for 6 years, almost every single week, and I fell in love with the song. And I was like, man, if I ever get the chance, I'd love to record this song. And I presented it to my producer, and he was like, dude, I think that'd be awesome. So we recorded it, and we were like, well, let's see what happens, because this is like definitely not something I usually do. But yeah, we put it out there and we posted it on TikTok, and it just 100,000 views overnight. I was like, what just happened?
I mean, that's just unbelievable to have that many. I mean, I know how popular obviously TikTok is and people, but to have that many views overnight just had to be like had to be wow.
Well, it was weird because I posted it and then I went to sleep, and I wasn't with anyone. I was just by myself, and I was like, let's just, I don't know. I'm just posting videos like everybody else. And then I didn't even look at my TikTok till like 1 o'clock the next day. And I was like, oh, I have like over 99 plus like notifications. I'm like, what is happening right now? Did someone just spam me?
That had to be so exciting for you.
It
I
was
mean,
cool.
that is very cool. You posted a picture of you and your grandmother, Miami, on her 86th birthday this past April 28th. You said, quote, I can't believe she's 86 years young and she still looks like a rock star. Thanks for being the best to talk with, laugh with, share tears with. Love you forever and always. Tell us a little bit about her.
Oh my gosh, my grandma is like the best woman in the world. I mean, you want to meet the best woman in the world, it's her. She's just honest, she's vulnerable, she's strong. I mean, she's been through so much in her life, and I can't believe she's 86. Like, that's just so crazy to me. But I mean, the stories that she has to tell, I mean, she really has turned me into the strongest woman that I could be. And I mean, yeah, she's the godliest woman that I know, and she has the best advice for anything. And she just knows so much. If I have, a question about finances or anything like that, I mean, she's the best person to go to for that. And she's just really easy to talk to. She's great.
She doesn't look 86.
I know. She doesn't look 86 at all.
No,
She
not
literally
even close.
No, she literally looks like she's in her 50s.
That's what he said. She looks like a rock star. So yeah, I mean, obviously she's your rock star. So that's great. What a great relationship. You said, quote, don't take away my thunder. Don't try to put me under. I'll never drown in sorrow. I'm gonna stand tomorrow. You're always going to be standing no matter what happens in your life, aren't you?
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we wrote that song during COVID, and I was actually we wrote it because I was going through a terrible relationship at the time, and it was more just about like a girl power song saying, you know what, just forget about this dude. We're gonna like wipe away all the rags, wipe away all the chains that this person has held you down to, and we're just gonna stand strong. We're just gonna keep going. So it was really my girl power song, speaking to the women out there and just letting them know that it's you know you can be strong on the other side. So
It's so important in anyone's life and anyone's career, especially with you. You have to focus so much on what you're doing to eliminate toxic people and situations in your life, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's hard to find, really good friends in what we do. You never know who you can trust. You never know who you can, talk to and it not go viral to
Sure.
everyone, spread like wildfire. But yeah, it's hard to find a really good family here, and you have to be really careful in our industry, that you just don't know who you can trust. So yeah, just wiping away all the negativity and toxic people is just it'll make your life so much easier.
So not too long ago, you were in Key West and you had a really hot date. You said you were hopeful to have a second date. I saw the picture and he's definitely a stud. He's kind of young though. I think he's about 13 years old. He said he can be found in Key West area at the bars, showing houses. He said that people call him, quote, the world's cutest bar puppy. Of course, I'm talking about the adorable poodle, Busy Bam Bam. How was that date with him?
Okay, so that date was amazing. Busy Bam Bam, I met him, I guess it was this past year. And yeah, every time I go to Key West now, I always make a point to see Busy because he's got his sunglasses on, he's got his visor on, he's got his coat on. I mean, he's just the cutest dog. But you can find him anytime in Key West. He's always bar hopping and hanging out. So
I just followed him on Instagram and they followed me back. I said, that's so cool. So
oh,
yeah,
they'll be so happy to hear that. He's so much fun. He's the sweetest dog.
yeah. Obviously I showed you that picture of my dogs. I have 3 miniature schnauzers, so I'm a huge dog lover. So that was cool to see a picture. He's very adorable. He is a stud. So that had to be a great date. What is it about Motley Crue that makes you want to perform with them in front of a live audience?
So, a friend of mine a couple years ago gave me the book Heroin Diaries. And at that time, I didn't really know a whole lot about Motley Crue. I knew obviously who they were and listened to them a little bit, but I
Right.
wasn't like, just a diehard fan. But when I read the book by Nikki Sixx, I became a diehard fan. Started just downloading all their music and watching all their documentaries and watching their interviews on YouTube. And I just fell in love with that rock and roll side of music. And they made me fall in love with that, just that whole group in general. But then I read The Dirt, and then the movie came out, and it made me love them even more. So if I if I were to perform with anyone, it would totally be Motley Crue. I think that would be such an amazing experience. I don't know if they'd want to sing with me, but
Yeah, the dirt. I thought the dirt was awesome. One of my best friends in my life was in the movie. He's an actor, and he played the bouncer in the movie at the beginning of the movie. And yeah, it was really a lot of fun to watch him
no
in the
way,
movie.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
so he was in the movie. He said that all the people in the movie, it was a lot of fun to make it with them. So, but he
That's
said it was
so
a perfect example of exactly who Motley Crue was.
yeah, I mean, just crazy and wild. And yeah, it's just something that, I never really got to experience that because obviously we didn't grow up in that time. But man,
Right.
how cool would that have been?
I know that would have been really cool. You have a really big fan. Her name is Alexis Hayes. This past May, you said you woke up and to a really special message from her, and you were in joyful tears. Are you? Can you share a little bit about her?
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a girl that I met in Wisconsin, and she's just been she comes to my shows all the time anytime I'm up there, and she's just an incredible young lady. But she uh sent me a message saying that she was baptized, and I just think that that's really dear to my heart. And because I grew up in a Christian family, and I was just super proud of her. And I love who she's becoming and what she's doing, and she loves music. And we really relate in that way. So I'm super proud of who she is and who she's becoming.
You received some amazing national recognition and attention last year with your song Whiskey Break. It was featured in the documentary Enormous, the Gorge story. And, for people that don't know, the Gorge Amphitheater outside of Seattle, on a patch of rural land is unbelievable. It's huge. All the major bands have played there, Dirk Bentley, Dave Matthews Band, Pearl Jam, Steve Miller, and many more. How did that come about with them wanting to use your song in that documentary?
So my producer just called me one day and was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of so and so?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Well, they're going to use your song in a movie." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So, I mean, they kind of set all of that up. And I was completely shocked whenever it happened because, I was like, "Wait, this is actually going to be in theaters." So I brought all my friends and we all went and saw the movie, and it was just really cool to actually be a part of that.
A very positive career changing opportunity happened for you when you met up and got to start working with Grammy nominated songwriter and producer Billy Smiley at the famous Sound Kitchen Studio D in Franklin. And you said, quote, "For the first time in my life, I've met someone who seems to really understand the rawness and restlessness of my soul." And we have so much fun writing and really connected through songs, and we've come up with, and it just seems to get better and better. Um, the rawness and restlessness of my soul. That is really deep. Tell us about your great career opportunity that's happened with Billy.
Yeah, so I met Billy. We were actually talking about this a couple days ago, but I think I met Billy back in 2019, and it was a real game changer for me. I went into the studio, I met with him, I sang for him, and I was like, well, I don't know if I'll get to work with him or not, but we'll see what happens. And then 2020 hit, and he asked me if I wanted to come in and record some music, and I was like, man, I can't afford anything right now. Like everything's shut down. Like I don't
Right.
even know how to even do anything like that. And he was like, well, just come in. He's like, don't even worry about the cost. We'll just play some music. We'll have some fun. We'll lay down some demos and just see what happens. And so I went in, and we just clicked instantly. We clicked on writing. We clicked on, he knew exactly what I wanted to write down on paper. And he put that music behind that, and that country rock and roll vibe that I just wanted to put out into the world. He got it. And there was no other producer that I had met that was really understanding what I wanted to put out. And he did. And I think it was amazing. And not only that, we just became a family. After the last couple of years that we've been working together, we've become the best of friends, and he's great to work with. And I was just in the studio this past 2 days just writing with him, so he's amazing.
He's worked with some big people, hasn't he?
Oh man, Johnny Cash, Petra, Clay Aiken. I mean, he's all over the map. He's worked with so many great people. Dan Huff. I mean, just another great producer here in town. I mean, just yeah, he's worked with everyone.
You said, quote, "Music has always been that one thing in my life that digs up a smile when I feel like I'm buried under the rest of my life. I want other people to feel the same." How do you think that you can make people feel that through your music?
I truly believe that music saves lives. I really do, because I feel like, whatever you're going through at that time, if you put on a song or you just happen to hear a song on the radio and it clicks with you, I mean, it can really lift you up. I mean, music makes you cry, music makes you laugh. And I think that in my music, I just want people to feel that as well. I want, if people come to a show, I want my shows are very energetic. My shows are very just, I want you to feel very happy when you leave my show. And that's the whole point of music. I just want you to feel very lifted up and very soul free and, just happy. And I just want people to feel that as well. So I hope they do whenever they come to shows.
Um, your 2021 Christmas song, "Please Come Home for Christmas," it was released both domestically and internationally on country radio, and was the most streamed play MPE country song for the week of December 13th, 2021. I watched the video on YouTube, and your version is phenomenal. It really
Oh,
is.
thank you.
Did you have any idea that you were going to have that kind of success with the remake of that song?
Definitely not. um, we were looking for a Christmas song, and it's hard to pick out a Christmas song when you're making music, because they make you pick out a Christmas song in the summer, before anything's, ready to come out. So I'm like, I'm not even in the Christmas spirit. I don't even know what I want to record. And I just started thinking that Please Come Home for Christmas was my favorite Christmas song growing up. I love the Eagles, grew up listening to the Eagles, huge fan. And I was like, this would be a perfect song. I don't know, if I did it, I wanted it to be very stripped down and just very unplugged. And that's exactly what we did. We added, just piano and a little cello. And yeah, had no idea it would be downloaded as much as it had been on Play MPE, which was amazing. So
You recently wrote something really strong and heartfelt. You said, quote, "There are going to be people in your life that try to tear you down with their negative actions or hurtful words, but in reality, they're only saying those things because they're feeling hurt or negativity in their life. Keep your head high and know that you deserve all the happiness this world offers. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. If you put your whole heart and soul into the passions you work hard for, you will be full. It's not about making anybody else happy. It's but making yourself happy." And then you go, "I hope you have an awesome Tuesday. Hashtag spread kindness." I love that. You have such a positive attitude towards life. We of course know everybody has their struggles and everything that we go through. How do you stay so positive and unfortunately such a negative world?
I will say it's definitely hard because I feel like we live in a world now where there's so much negativity, and especially with online platforms right now, you can see so much.
Right.
And, I just think that there's going to be people that come into your life who are going to lift you up, and there's going to be people that come into your life who try to drag you down. And recently, that day I'd actually had someone that tried to drag me down, and just I just the only thing that you can cry about it, you can feel sorry for yourself for for a second, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I mean, we have to pick ourselves back up. I mean, whether you call your mom, whether you call a friend, whether you call anyone in your family that you can try to get advice from and try to lift yourself back up, I mean, that's the best way to do it. But try not to, wallow in your sorrow for, a full day, because you're just going to feel terrible. But if we can just, try to surround ourselves with people that are going to lift us up and make us happy and keep those positive vibes around us. It's so important because it's going to make you so happy and it's going to make you so full. And so that day I was having a pretty tough day, but we're good now.
I think it's so important. I post about this, frequently, especially over the last year and a half, as I've made a lot of changes too, that you have to eliminate, we're talking about toxic people that are around you. And sometimes it's people that you were really close to that you
Yeah,
have to, eliminate from your life. It's not that you don't love them and care about them, but you got to do it from a distance, because if you keep them around you, it is going to, bring you down. And you also have to figure out a way to save yourself, because no one is going to save you.
absolutely. I totally agree with everything that you just said, because yeah, I mean, no one else is going to do it for you. I mean, you have to put, one foot in front of the other and just keep going and keep trying to run that track. And I mean, eventually you'll get to the end and it's going to be beautiful.
I agree. Your full length album, Thunder, is now out. It's out. I think it's a digital album. It's out right now. And I listened to the whole album on Apple Music, and you have some great songs in there: Whiskey Break, Wrong Side of Goodbye, Black Dog, which we talked about. And of course, being from Memphis, I love Maybe It Was Memphis. Tell us about that album and what makes it so special to you.
Well, I think Billy had a lot of help in this album, obviously, because he produced the record, but he really knew what I wanted to say. He really knew what I wanted to put out into the world. So this album was probably my favorite album I've put out so far. It's got country, it's got blues, it's got rock and roll. I mean, every element to my life in the past, 15 years of playing music. We put all of this into the Thunder album, and it was an amazing experience. It took us about 2 years to do the album, just a lot of writing. I mean, we still have a whole catalog of songs that we didn't even put on the album, but we'll hopefully use some of those songs on another album. But yeah, I mean, this album was just so much fun to make, and just the players that I got to meet on this record, and um, just everyone else that surrounded it. My team has been amazing, just promoting this record and helping me move forward with this. So I've just had a really, really great team, and just yeah, it's been so much fun to do these radio tours this past year and get to play original music and try to put music out into the world.
You probably played mostly when you were on the cruise ships and everything. You probably played a lot of covers back then, I would
Oh yeah,
assume,
I still
because
play a
that's
lot
what.
of covers.
Sure, but being able to play your own music is phenomenal, because you get to share that with people, and that's what I noticed about listening to your music and having, we talked about, off air, that having a little background in the music industry, that your music is sort of all over the place. It's not just country. It's,
Yeah.
the blues and the rock and roll. So someone might not be totally in love with country music, but they're going to come listen to your music and they're still going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. I look at my huge influence right now is Sheryl Crow. I listened to Sheryl Crow a lot growing up, and I love what she did. She did country, she did rock, she did blues, and she's done all of these elements. And I'm like, man, that's so cool. Like, I hope that I get to do that one day, because she's not only just sticking to one genre. I mean, she's rebelling and she's making it her own. She's putting out what she wants to put out. And someone asked me the other day, they were like, we're trying to figure out who I would mesh well with on like a tour, on like an opening act tour. And they couldn't figure out really what I would do or who I would mesh well with, because they couldn't really figure out what my vibe was and like what kind of music I wanted to put out there. But honestly, I come from Memphis. I love the blues. I grew up listening to 90s country. And the more older I got, I love rock and roll. So I don't know who I'll get to open for one day, because my genres are kind of all over the place. But it doesn't really matter, because I feel like music is that way right now. I mean, country isn't what it used to be. It's, you know, evolved into something more beautiful. And I love the way country music is now, because anyone can listen to it. It's country pop,
Right.
country rock, country rap, it's everything. And I think that it doesn't have to be one specific genre. I think labels do that. They try to put you in one genre. And it's just not fair. We should put out what we feel is, what makes us happy and what makes our soul full. So yeah, I love, all types of genres of music. So I just want to put all of that into what we're doing.
Country is a lot different now than it was back in the time of our parents' hee haw.
Yeah. Oh, huge. Yeah. Oh yeah. My grandma is like, my grandma was a huge fan of that. And she always asks me sometimes, she's like, why don't you do some Patsy Cline music, And I'll sing it at shows, but I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it's just not my kind of music that I would put out into the world now, but I respect it. And, because it's what country music is today, and it's gonna constantly be evolving.
Even though you weren't able to play out much during COVID the first few years, you gained a lot of fans all over the world because of social media. You said, "quote I've gained fans in a different place that I never thought I would." How did that happen?
Um, I don't even know, honestly. It's just been, I will say this, it's just been an amazing experience just to travel and just meet different people, and just gaining fans across the US and across Norway. I mean, just all over the areas. So it's been an amazing experience just to, and just really just to make friends with these people. I think it's important. Someone said to me one time, people just want you to spend time with them. And I think that I've just taken that with me. And, if you spend time with people that are coming to your shows and people that are, supporting in what you do, you're going to make lifelong friends. And I think that that's so important.
Then there are obviously a ton of negatives with COVID, but the positives to someone like you is that you were able to put out videos and clips like that, where people were able to, people were stuck at home. So what do they want to do? Go on, listen to music and things like that, watch videos. So that is obviously a huge way for you to be able to gain fans all over the world.
Yeah, 2020 was pretty rough. We, obviously, everything was shut down. So I mean, the best idea I knew to do was just get online and, get on TikTok and go live and get on Facebook and do some of these shows. And yeah, it's been crazy to make friends just all over the world from just being at home on my couch.
You were on the road recently. Said for like 34 straight days at the beginning of July, you finally got to sleep in your own bed. And you said, quote, I love the road, but there's nothing like making coffee in your own apartment. Why does coffee sometimes taste so much better, from the comfort of your own home?
I don't know, because I have a Keurig and it's really not that great. But there's something about just like waking up, crawling out of bed and, going to the coffee maker and just using your own creamer and, I don't know, and you get to sit on your own cozy couch and
Right.
drink coffee. And yeah, because, my Keurig is definitely not something that's going to be the best coffee in the world, but
But you're comfortable there, and that's what makes it all the difference.
absolutely.
You just mentioned recently you about Norway, and you were just there for 4 days. What was Norway like?
Norway was beautiful. So we get to go to Norway like 3 times a year. We go February, July, and October. And man, the people there, it's amazing. They just appreciate music in such a different way than we do over here. Their food is better, their water's better. I mean, it's so much fun.
In 1997, a really controversial song was released by Meredith Brooks called Bitch. It was a huge hit. You just recently released your version of the song. And after watching the video on YouTube, honestly, I think you sing it better than Meredith Brooks did.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
everyone needs to go watch that video on YouTube because it's awesome. Just go on there and type in Casey Johns, and not that she is, but bitch, and the song will come up, and you got to watch it because the video is awesome. Why is that song so special to you?
Well, I mean, I grew up in the 90s listening to that kind of stuff. And, this year was the 25th year of that song coming out. And, my girl that does PR and marketing for me, she heard me sing it at a show one night and she was like, you need to release that. And this was earlier in the year. And I was like, I know, but it's not really part of our plan this year. I don't know what I don't know what it would sound like. I have no idea. So we just went into the studio, we recorded it, and I was like, man, this is actually pretty cool. Like, I love the vibe that we've set. We've kind of made it, a little bit country and, a little bit keeping with the style of the song. And
Right.
I just kind of made it our own. But yeah, I love that song.
Does it have a deep meaning to you, the song itself?
I think more of it was just like more of it's just like women feeling very empowered in who they are. And I think even Meredith said this, but she basically wrote this about, being herself in a relationship and how that guy made her feel. So I think that that's so important for women. Like if you find that person where you can be yourself around, I think that that's really awesome. So, I think that that's just a reminder for me and for anyone else out there that, as we're going through this life, finding people that you can be yourself around or finding that one person. Um, yeah, I just think it's really important to just always be yourself. So
The GM at AJ's Good Time Bar in Nashville said of you, quote, Casey brings the exact energy you want on your stage when booking performers. She really knows how to captivate the live audience, keep them engaged during her set. Where does that energy and passion in you come from?
well, I definitely take a shot before we so that probably helps.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I just try to have fun. It's all about if you don't love it, there's no point of you being on stage. But I just love music. I mean, once that first note hits, I mean, we're ready to rock. And it's fun because it's easier too when the crowd has energy and they give that energy back.
Right.
It's really hard when there are some gigs where I've played and no one's in the audience and it's just me and my band up there just hanging out. And which isn't a bad thing, but if we're putting on a show, we'd rather be in front of people. So, but yeah, just, you know, take a shot before your gigs, and that would be my advice. No.
What motivates you to keep going every day despite everything going on?
Um, Probably my team. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I've got about 100 emails that I have to go through.
Wow.
But my team is amazing. My family is amazing. My friends are amazing. And just, just, I think just with everything going on, you kind of have to just put it behind you and just move forward and just know that, I mean, even the richest person in the world, if you just do one task a day, you're going to be super productive. So, I mean, I try to just think that, if we're just doing at least one task a day, it's going to lead to so much more. So, you probably can't fit it all in one day, but if you can
Right.
just do one, it's going to be great.
You just recently celebrated your 33rd birthday. Happy belated birthday again. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Obviously, family is very important to you. We talked about your grandmother, Miami, earlier, and she's obviously very special to you, but there's, a very special person to you, and that's your mom, Darlene. I'm sure there's many others too, but, this is mom. You said of her, she's the strongest woman I know, beautiful inside and out. Thanks for being wonderful and teaching me to be the best I can be. You said she's your favorite person in the whole world, the kindest soul of anyone that you've ever met. And you thank her for teaching you to spread kindness throughout this world. And you told, I love you to the moon and back. And, it's obvious, Casey, that, she taught you, how to spread kindness to the world. Tell us a little bit more about your mom.
Yeah, my mom is definitely the person that would do anything for anyone. I mean, if someone's on the side of the road, she's the first one to drop everything and go fix a flat tire or go, do anything. I mean, my mom really should have been a dude because she's really like the biggest tomboy that I know. And she's just, I mean, she's wonderful. She's super kind and just, yeah, I mean, she's been through a whole lot in her life. And I've, growing up as, just it was just me, her, and my sister. We never really had a male influence around, so it was nice to see her teach me, like, just to grow up being very independent, being a very strong woman, and she definitely is that. And I just aspire to be like her every day.
What are the most important lessons that you've learned in your life?
Oh gosh, be very strong in anything that you do. Stay independent because I think it's very important. Um, and honestly, just have fun with life. I know that's probably a weird lesson to learn, but I think that if you're just having fun with life and just, enjoying who you're around and being present in a moment, and, if you're going to dinner with someone, put your phone away. And
Right.
that's very hard for us to do because we live in a society where, I mean, this is so important. But if you're just present and just listen to people talk and listen to their stories, I think that that's just so important. And just that's how you make friendships and that's how you build relationships. So,
You said that perfectly, talking about going to a restaurant. I mean, you see it all the time. You go to a restaurant and there's two people sitting across from each other and they're not even talking. They're sitting there glued
I
into
know.
their heads or into their phones. And I mean, even couples today. And I'm like, we've become that society that, we're glued to our phone where, people used to leave their house and they forget something and be like, oh, no big deal. I don't have to go back and get it. But you leave your house and you forget your phone. Oh my God. It's like you're naked. I mean,
It's
really,
a
it's
big
like
deal.
it is a big deal because our whole life is into those telephones. And, but we
Yes,
were fine without it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, you grew up in the 90s, and, and we were fine without cell phones. We had better
totally.
relationships with people back then too.
I agree. I try to think about, me as a kid when we didn't have cell phones, and I'm sure you do the same. But like, how did we, like, I don't even know how we like got from place to place. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
however, my mom used to travel to these rodeos all the time with me, and I'm like, how did you even get there? She's like, well, we read a map. And I'm
Right.
like an actual map, like. And so she has like a Rand McNally in my car right now. She's like, in case your phone ever dies, here's your map. And I'm like, Mom, I don't even know how to read this. Like, I don't even know how to start.
Yeah. And right. I remember the maps, taking trips and stuff with my family and everything, pulling out those maps, driving to California. Right. And you think now, like, oh my God, that's so ancient. I
It's
mean,
so
it's
ancient. You think it is. Yeah, absolutely.
how can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
You can go to caseyjohns.rocks, and Casey spelled just like the Sunshine Band. So caseyjohns.rocks, and you can find my tour, my media, my music. I've got a podcast, Casey on the Island, if you want to go check that out. Just kind of all over the map stuff.
And make sure people remember to check out Casey's new album Thunder. You can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon. I'm sure there's many other platforms too. And check out your tour schedule also. And if you live in the Memphis area, I believe that you're actually going to be playing September 15th in Hernando
Yeah.
at Fall Fest on the Square from 7 to 9 p.m. with Donnie Mars and Tim Baumgartner. That has to be pretty exciting to be able to play for your hometown area.
I'm super excited about that. That's gonna be so much fun. I haven't been home since earlier this year, so it'll be really nice to come back and just put on a great show and see old friends and see family and stuff. So I'm excited.
I'm going to bring a couple friends of mine. We're going to come down because I want to check you out in person. I can't wait to see you. I love watching videos. I love listening to music on, Apple and Amazon, but there's nothing like seeing music live. It's just a big difference.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited. We'll have so much fun.
This has been awesome. I really enjoy having you on today talking. I love talking music and especially someone who has as much enthusiasm for it as you do. So I really appreciate you coming on today.
Michael, I really appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. You're just an amazing man, and just thank you so much for just
Thank you.
being wonderful. This was so much fun.
I'd love to have you on again down the road. I know that you're going to be really successful because I just see it in you.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael.
All right. Enjoy talking to you again. Thank you.
For talking to you.
Bye-bye.